was pretty much everything that we saw, I think.
I should have fucking taken it with me, but I was like, you know, what is leave with everyone?
Is this one? Yeah, I think so.
Pretty close to starting, and they'll kind of give that voiceover. I can cue you as to the end of piece. They'll say that, and then just maybe one more like a 2 or 3 minute thing, and then the speakers cue will go up, and you guys head back to the back.
Okay. Also, I had a lunchbox over there, and I don't really know where it is now.
What's in it?
It was just a blue lunchbox.
Like,
Yeah, it was just sitting over there by the back.
I will ask the crew back there for some reason.
Okay.
So we're getting voice.
Yeah, I actually didn't really understand what she just said. I think what she meant is like, well, so are we starting right now?
I think so.
Also, this is, I think, coming off here. Or
No,
is
my
it-
amp is on.
Mine is not either. Hang to it. That's neat.
Oh,
Is it not plugged in?
it's not. That one's things.
So we would be able to do either Stella or Days of Wine and Roses first. Just
Sure.
yeah.
Does it have
Let me see that we could get.
Oh, for the first one?
Yeah, our first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
Let's do Stella, 'cause
we
I'm
should get
less
the
comfortable.
sound configured.
Yeah. It should
Yeah,
be
it is.
on right now. Oh, that's why. You gotta turn the your amp on.
Oh,
There's like a little on-off switch on the. Yeah, that's it.
this?
This other opposite of that. Yeah.
Did I do it? Oh. Is it good?
Oh, is it plugged in with this?
Is it Bluetooth or?
No, it's a wire.
Oh, okay. Should be on.
All right, I've got an angle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, whoa. Go ahead, it's out of battery. It's not giving me green light. Do you have a charger, like a phone charger?
Oh, dude, you're kidding me. I was like, I hope it works.
And I can go run and grab it.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I don't have
That thing is not loud enough to play into this room.
No, alright, I'll go find it.
There's no I don't. I'm trying to see if maybe like there's any other audio in phone. Yeah.
I mean, can we just fucking ask Jeff if we can use this fucking...
That's what I'm saying. What's that guy's deal? Might just take it. We're about to come to booth. Because the booth there's like 10 minutes until start. So we gotta play. I don't know where he's running to. give him a little bit. and
Maybe,
then we'll
maybe.
just-
Oh, fuck, this phone's here too.
I don't know, because I'm overpowering you. That's the issue.
I mean, like, if I'm at max, this is how loud I am.
Which is, it's only pointing towards you, not them.
Sure.
So-
I could, like, do this.
Here, do you want to...
I could even
Where the
actually.
hell is he going?
I don't know.
I wouldn't do that.
I don't know. I mean, there's something to that, I think, but.
He said it was battery powered. I'm like, dude, I hope that's gonna last. And it did not. Fuck, where is... Dude, come on.
I mean, like, I don't know. Should we go, like, look?
You might steal the jack from his guitar for now.
Okay.
Maybe this one.
I mean, yeah, we could just play duo for a hot sec.
Yeah. Because I don't know what the hell he's doing. He left mono, you already know, huh?
But is this gonna, like, mess up his EQ or whatever?
Shouldn't. Give it a shot. And then we'll have you play a couple notes and we'll see.
So, wait, which one
It
did I
says L/mono.
L/mono?
Alright, wait. Sure. Alright, so he wanted to do Stella, so let's do Days 1 and Roses for now.
Sure, yeah.
Fuck. Alright.
How's this for sound?
On
Please take your seats. The program will begin shortly. We would like to thank our talented student musicians for joining us today.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy New Year and welcome to the first annual University Convocation. My name is Claire Noonan. I'm the Vice President for Mission Integration here at the university, and I'm so glad to see so many familiar and new faces. We're going to begin with prayer, so I ask you to just pray with me. And I will say, I noticed when I came in that the address of Pope Francis to Loyola's Board of Trustees is at your places. I was privileged to be able to accompany the trustees in that visit. And the prayer that I composed for this morning is based on Pope Francis's address to us. So let us pray. Loving and ever-present God, as we take our first steps into the journey of this new academic year, we remember our beginnings, the spirit of our founders, St. Ignatius of Loyola and Father Arnold Damon, and the path of deep reflection, attentive listening, and courageous action that they set us upon. We ask for gifts of perseverance, curiosity, and cooperation that we may persist in our mission, forming fine minds and generous hearts, engaging with complex realities toward reconciliation and justice, building a future full of hope. Give us the stamina to do the hard work and the imagination to dream of bold possibilities for your greater honor and glory. Amen. Now I invite to the stage President Mark Reed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here or to join us via live stream from the Water Tower and Health Sciences campuses. Provost Woods and I have been looking forward to this opportunity to share with you several university updates and some thoughts about our future. It's important that we gather as a university from time to time to recognize and to celebrate our collective goals, our successes, opportunities, and challenges. We're all busy, and we're often focused on our individual parts of the enterprise that we need to take time to find ways to lift our heads, to look around, and to see how each of our parts fits in and impacts the whole. By doing this, we are aware that we all perform different functions and have varying responsibilities. But at a university such as Loyola, we are also all educators, no matter our roles, whether we're formal educators in the classrooms and the labs, whether we're educators on the fields and the courts, whether we're educators in the residence halls, whether we are educators by setting up this room and by taking care of the campus grounds, or whether we're educators by making sure that the technology works at events such as this. We are all educators. And in doing so, we are really seeking to impact lives, to change lives, to improve lives for the better. Those of our students, be they undergraduate, graduate, or professional, those in the communities where we are located, live, and serve, those of our alumni and their connections, and those who are impacted by the relevance, reach, and impact of our research. And my hope is that today's convocation and events like these are an opportunity for each of us to pause from the usual busyness of the day, and this time of year especially, to reflect on our common purpose and how we each are called to contribute to that purpose and our mission and obligations as a Jesuit Catholic university. I remarked recently to a group of students, a group of incoming first-year students from Jesuit high schools around the country. We had a nice brunch for them as part of their welcome week. I told them that I'm a second semester sophomore at Loyola. Nothing worse than being a second semester sophomore. Anybody who's ever taught sophomores knows. What does that mean? It means that I have 3 full semesters behind me. That's more than enough to not be new anymore, but it's not nearly enough to have seen or taken advantage of all that Loyola offers and does. So one way I decided this year to immerse myself more closely in Loyola's core academic mission is by teaching an undergraduate math course this semester. Applied Calculus 1, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 to 9:45 a.m. Any of you wishing to brush up on derivatives and their applications are welcome to stop by. Gave the first quiz today. Now, a common question you will recall from your first days of school each year growing up is, what did you do this summer? Now, don't worry, I won't bore you with an accounting of my past 3 months, but I thought I would share a picture of how my summer started. In case you're wondering, I actually am the guy on the right. All right, most people are looking right at the Pope. As Dr. Noonan noted, we had the opportunity as part of a trip, which I will comment on, to visit Pope Francis. And that is the opportunity we had to present a gift to Pope Francis. We had a wonderful visit there with him and with others. So in May, just as summer was beginning, right after all of our May commencement ceremonies were over, several members of the Board of Trustees, senior university leaders, and I participated in an Ignatian pilgrimage to Spain and Rome, visiting and learning about the life of St. Ignatius, his religious conversion and journey to founding the Society of Jesus, and the origins and principles of Ignatian spirituality. We visited many places, celebrating Mass in most of them, including the rooms where St. Ignatius lived, worked, and died as Superior General. And through our friend, Father Doug Mocuye, General Counselor and Regional Assistant for the United States, we enjoyed a warm and cordial visit with Father Arturo Sosa, Superior General of the Society of Jesus, who greeted us wearing his Loyola pullover we gave him when he was on campus last April. Very much on brand, as the expression goes. And through our friend and recent Loyola honorary degree recipient and commencement speaker, Dr. Emil Sekuda, who serves as Secretary of the Pontifical Commission for Latin America, we were able to have a private audience with Pope Francis, who gave us a short address, a copy of which, of course, as you know now, was placed at each of your seats. And I hope and think you will find the Pope's words to be poignant and inspiring. So not a bad way to start one summer. Let me turn to welcoming and introducing several new senior leaders to Loyola. Joining us over this past summer are Father Marty Connell of the Society of Jesus, Dean of Arrupe College, who comes to us from Santa Clara University, Dr. Patricia Finley, Dean of the School of Social Work, who comes to us from Rutgers University and is also a Loyola alumna, Dr. Ginny McDermott, Dean of the School of Communication, who comes to us from High Point University in North Carolina, Dr. David McIntosh, Dean of the School of Education, who comes to us from Ball State University in Indiana, Dr. Douglas Woods, Provost and Chief Academic Officer, who comes to us from Marquette University and from whom you will also hear at this convocation. And joining us during the previous academic year, but now starting their first regular academic year at Loyola, second semester freshman perhaps, Dr. Leroy Butler, Vice President and Chief Information Officer, and Janice Parks, Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer. And certainly not new to Loyola or to any of us, but in a new role, is Father Thomas Knightsky of the Society of Jesus, Vice President and Special Assistant to the President now, who is also serving as Interim Vice President for Advancement. Please join me in giving these individuals a warm round of applause. We have a wonderful mix of faculty and staff here representing thousands of years of commitment and service to Loyola. That's not a typo, thousands of years of commitment and service to Loyola. So if you have been at Loyola for 20 or more years, please stand and accept our appreciation. Sometimes you have to nudge the person next to you. And if you have been at Loyola for at least 10 years but less than 20 and are able, please stand and be recognized. And if you are new to Loyola this year or have worked at Loyola for less than 10 years and are able, please stand and accept our thanks. Let me share with you now some updates on our enrollment and university finances. For our undergraduate first-year class, the class of 2028, God, that once seemed so far into the future. It's not. For this class, we received nearly 43,000 applications and enrolled 2,800 students, which is above our budgeted target. Now, given the challenges in the admission cycle due to the extreme delays and problems with the functionality of the federal application for student aid, which all colleges and universities use for determining eligibility for need-based scholarships and financial aid, we are especially grateful to our admission financial aid and enrollment management staffs for their efforts and successful results once again. Some facts and tidbits you might be interested in. The majority of our enrolled first-year students took advantage of the test optional policy. For those who submitted scores, the averages for both the ACT and SAT were slightly higher than last year. 54% of our incoming first-year students identify as students of color. Apart from Illinois, the top 5 feeder states are Minnesota, California, Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio, with Minnesota beating out California this year. We have a first-year student enrolled from every state except Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming. So clearly we have room for improvement next year. Transfer student applications increased 25% over the prior year, and newly enrolled transfer students are up about 37%. Graduate programs, and here I'm talking about mainly our master's degree programs across the schools, continue to see variability. Overall, these enrollments are slightly down from last year, but they are above our budgeted target for this year. The law school continues to enroll its full class with applications up about 6%, and by far the most selective school at the university remains the Stritch School of Medicine, which received over 12,000 applications for the 170 spots available. With demands such as this, and with an inability to expand locally, one might wonder if a second medical school campus in another state is a strategic need and opportunity. Talking to the health sciences campus will let that be food for thought. There is no doubt that Loyola remains an attractive institution for prospective students at the undergraduate, graduate, and professional levels. However, we can never take this for granted. Each year, each cycle is a new one, and we can all assist and play a role in supporting the recruitment and retentions of students. It is one reason why I said earlier that we are all educators. We are all changing lives. We are all in the recruitment and retention business and the ultimate success of our students. Everything we should do should be in service of these roles. Now, for more than 20 years running, Loyola has modeled financial discipline while making major investments in new academic programs, student services, and campus facilities and infrastructure. And fiscal year 2024 was no exception, with operating results of approximately $25 million. Now, while I highlight this figure, I do so with some hesitation. On the one hand, it's a point of pride. It's something that would be the envy of several peer institutions, and ratings agencies cite Loyola's consistent positive margins as evidence of strength. On the other hand, operating results, while important, can be misunderstood. For example, Loyola has a nearly $1 billion revenue budget, of which about $300 million is distributed in scholarships and financial aid to students, for net revenue of $700 million. Having $25 million, or 3.5% left over at the end of the year, is not a windfall. Imagine having $1,000 in your budget at the beginning of the week and then having $35 left at the end of the week. You would not feel well off. And importantly, and additionally, Loyola's fiscal policies ensure that those operating results are immediately reinvested back into the university in the form of debt payments, designated funds for schools and academic programs, facilities renewal, and long-term reserves. In other words, our operating results are put to important uses, ensuring a healthy and stable financial life cycle for the university. Fiscal year 2024 can also be noted for revenues modestly exceeding expenses overall. And I'm talking in terms of the percentage of growth of revenues and expenses. Expenses in recent years, unfortunately, had been growing faster than revenues, so the reversal is certainly positive. There was 21% growth in grants and contracts that reflected increased research productivity. Auxiliary services revenue grew by 10%. On the expense side, compensation, salary, and benefits increased by $26 million, or about 7%, reflecting continued increase in faculty and staff headcount and the funding of salary increases and benefit costs for faculty and staff. Non-compensation expenses grew by 6.6%. Gifts and investment performance saw our endowment exceed $1 billion, and total endowment and long-term investments finished the year at $1.25 billion. Clearly, Loyola is in solid financial condition. If I may make an observation, perhaps a cautionary one, however, with the hope that no one will take offense at what I'm about to say, I have wondered on more than one occasion if Loyola's financial discipline and performance at times masks inefficiencies in our operations and educational activities, or unintentionally contributes to complacency or stymies a sense of urgency and understanding about the current state of American higher education and its many challenges, financial, qualitative, reputational, and otherwise. Having spent considerable time at 2 other universities and regularly studying and reviewing the performance of others, we have not faced the same financial challenges or had to make some of the harder choices that others have, including many of our peers. Please, this is not a criticism at all. In fact, it makes us quite fortunate. Being in our condition is a privilege. It affords us the freedom of planning and deciding as much for ourselves as possible. Turning now to the topic of planning, there is a saying that if you really want to know what an organization's priorities are, independent of having a promulgated plan or no formal plan at all, or as evidence of what your plan states you're actually doing, look at that organization's budget and what that organization spends its resources on. In Loyola's case, objective analysis reflects many positives in this regard. In the many conversations I have had with groups of faculty and staff, as well as individually over the past year and a half, I've asked several common questions, including but not limited to, what makes Loyola distinctive? Why did you come here? Why do you choose to stay? What does it mean to be a Jesuit and Catholic university to you? What are the strategic priorities for the university, for your department, school, or division? How do you measure progress, and what evidence do you have to prove it? And how does what you are doing concretely reflect and advance Loyola's Jesuit and Catholic mission and heritage? I've also asked about the strategic plan the university developed between 2019 and 2021 through a widely participatory and consultative process. Not surprisingly, there was broad support, almost unanimous support, for the underlying values and aspirations articulated in that plan. However, it also became clear from these conversations, and I have commented in settings like this previously, that we would benefit greatly from a reorganization and rearticulation of the strategic plan into more coherent, focused, actionable, and measurable priorities. To this end, Provost Woods and I will lead this effort, and we will present to the university community by the end of this semester an updated strategic plan to ensure we are making decisions looking ahead as much as possible and enabling all schools and departments to easily connect their work and their plans to the institution's goals. And I'm looking forward to that work. I'm looking forward to completing that. Now, a year ago, I reported to you that the university would undergo a campus master planning process to develop a plan to identify facilities and infrastructure needs and to prioritize future campus improvements and construction projects. I'm happy to report that work was completed, as you hopefully have read about in Loyola News and on the university's website. Several initial or Tier 1 priorities on the Lakeshore campus will include new academic buildings to support the natural and physical sciences, forensic science, nursing, and health sciences. You're welcome. New or renovated student center space and amenities, new and state-of-the-art space for the Office of Student Success and its related services, new recreation and fitness space appropriate to a residential university of our size, a new welcome center to facilitate optimal visits and experiences for prospective students and their families. All the while, we will place increased attention on the campus perimeter, pedestrian safety, landscaping, and connections. Deferred maintenance and upgrades across campus will continue to be addressed in a consistent manner. Now, it will take multiple years for our plans to be completed. And yes, there's a Tier 2 wave and a Tier 3 wave that will follow. That's the cycle that universities and campuses find themselves on. And so the work never ends. But we do have several studies and planning efforts underway currently, while we also develop funding plans that will include a combination of gifts, university capital funds and reserves, and borrowing. The quiet phase of the university's next comprehensive capital campaign continues along a steady path. More than $45 million was raised in fiscal year 2024, bringing the total raised since fiscal year 2020 to more than $250 million. These are solid results, and we are grateful to the advancement team, the schools, and departments for all of their efforts. The highest priority of our campaign will be for scholarships and financial assistance, along with the related support services. And at least 50% of our overall campaign goal will be designated to these critical resources. Academic initiatives such as endowed chairs and professorships, cultivating and supporting innovation and research, attracting world-class teacher scholars, and more. And student initiatives such as providing a premier student-centered living and learning environment, highly competitive Division I athletics, a welcoming and inclusive campus culture, and co-curricular activities and student formation programs, along with capital projects to support them. These will form the balance of our campaign. It will be comprehensive, as you can tell. I anticipate that the quiet phase will continue for at least another year or two as we refine specific campaign goals, expand our donor base, and build greater institutional capacity for and expertise in fundraising and stewardship. Now, I want to end my remarks by looking back on last year's unrest on college and university campuses and looking ahead at the unfortunate continuing divisiveness and violence that exists in our country and around the world. Loyola, as we know, is not insulated from these realities. Yet I am proud overall of how our community proactively responds to them. First and foremost, we proceed from our Jesuit and Catholic mission and heritage, which recognizes that all members of our community are made in the image and the likeness of God, and affirms the God-given dignity and the value of each and every person. We should strive to love one another as we love ourselves. And as a university, we prize teaching, dialogue, and the search for truth. In this great educational endeavor, people can and do disagree, engage in debate, and learn from one another, while at the same time valuing and treating every member of the community with respect. We are not perfect, and we stumble at times, but we should draw confidence from our mission and not shy away from the challenge. As I have shared, and Provost Woods will too, the headwinds Loyola is facing are real, and they're not likely to subside in the foreseeable future. However, from where I stand, I can confidently state that Loyola University Chicago is so fortunate and strong with a bright future. I know you join me in wanting to embrace it, each of us as educators, regardless of our job title, changing lives in meaningful ways. So thank you for your attention this morning. Please know of my deep gratitude for all that you do. I'm honored to serve at Loyola alongside you, and it is now my pleasure to turn it over to Provost Woods.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you today. I just finished week 8 at Loyola, so I'm new. Being in a new place and a new job with new colleagues at the beginning of a new year is exciting. It seems like everything I do is a first, including this. In thinking about my remarks today, I debated on my approach. Should I play it safe and give the typical convocation speech calling for academic excellence and discussing impactful scholarship, research, and creative works? Or should I just assume, that this is a given, it's what we do and we're going to do it well, and instead maybe talk about something different? Perhaps a little about my background, maybe give you some of my reflections about what I've seen since I've arrived at Loyola, and maybe how we can consider meeting the challenges facing higher education. Well, I decided I'm still new, the honeymoon is real, and forgiveness is still a thing, so I opted for the latter. So let me start by telling you a little bit about myself, and after that, I'll tell you what drew me to Loyola and why I see such a bright future for our university in the context of what undoubtedly will be, and in many ways already is, a very tumultuous time for higher education. I'm a professor of psychology, and this fall marks my 26th year in the academy. I'm a clinical psychologist by training, and my research career involves developing, testing, and improving access to non-drug, non-pharmacological treatments for children and adults with Tourette syndrome and other obsessive-compulsive related disorders. I've remained an active scholar and have been funded by various NIH and foundation grants continuously for the last 20 years. During my career, I've actively mentored numerous PhD students, master's students, and undergraduate students. I've taught courses regularly in introductory psychology, research methods, psychopathology, behavior modification, and evidence-based psychotherapy. My career started in 1999 at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. While I was at UWM, I served many different roles. After receiving tenure, I served as director of a PhD program, department chair, and as an associate dean in the graduate school / office of research, where I worked with the social sciences departments and the schools of education, business, communication, and social work. I was at UWM from 1999 to 2013. I left UWM in 2013 to become head of psychology at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. Anyone ever been to College Station, Texas? You know why I'm not there anymore. I had a wonderful experience at Texas A&M, but as it turns out, a person from the Midwest, I'm from Ohio originally, taking a person out of the Midwest and planting them in rural Texas was much more of a culture shock than I anticipated, and this led me to be gone soon. I got my first taste of Jesuit education when I returned to Milwaukee and began my time at Marquette University. I was at Marquette from 2016 until this past summer. During that time, I served as dean of the graduate school and vice provost for graduate and professional studies, and for a time, the chief of digital learning at Marquette. I moved to Loyola this summer, starting in early July. I left Marquette not because I was unhappy, but because I saw so much opportunity here. I saw a university with a strong national reputation and getting stronger. I saw a physical footprint that with its geographic diversity could truly be all things to all people. A beautiful lakeside residential campus, a bustling downtown campus in the heart of the city, a medical campus embedded between a VA and a partner health system, a rural retreat center, and a campus in Rome that allows us to state with confidence that we are truly an international institution. I saw a university with a diverse array of programs that was comprehensive enough to meet market needs, but that still had significant growth opportunities. I saw a university that had made a commitment to and made significant inroads towards attracting and retaining students and faculty from diverse backgrounds. I saw a university that had a clear mission and lived that mission fully. I saw a faculty of world-class teachers and scholars who cared deeply about Loyola and its mission and its students. I saw a university that was located in a world-class city and understood its mutual relationships and responsibilities toward that city. I saw significant opportunity for incredible growth and success in this university. Now, since I've gotten here, I can tell you that these impressions have only been reinforced. Okay, now I've introduced myself and told you what drew me here. Let's switch gears. President Reed mentioned some of the headwinds that we're facing in higher education. Today, I'd like to talk with you about some of these headwinds and a few ways in which I think we can effectively manage them. Some of what we can do will involve strengthening what we already do, and some will involve changing what we do in order to make ourselves even more effective as we navigate the headwinds. The data are clear. If you haven't dug into this, please do so. In regions from which Loyola currently recruits the bulk of its students, which is primarily the upper Midwest, there soon will be significantly fewer students graduating from high school. This means that if we do not change our current approach, we will likely see a significant decrease, scratch that, we will see if we don't change our current approach, we will see a significant decrease in undergraduate student enrollment at Loyola starting in the fall of 26, which is when the birth rate effect starts to hit. And this will become fully realized in the student body by 2032. Consider the possibility, if we do nothing, and that's the key phrase, of a 10 to 15% decline in our undergraduate population simply based on demographics. That's a lot, and it has a huge budget impact. In addition to these demographic shifts, though, we're facing other headwinds in higher education. College is expensive, and there's a downward price pressure on universities as they give out more and more scholarship dollars. Likewise, many people are beginning to question the value of higher education. Is it worth the cost, not only of money, but of time? Of course, you and I and the data believe in the value of higher education, but other data suggest the public is beginning to become skeptical. In summary, if we do nothing, if we pretend these challenges are not happening or won't impact us, in a few years, we are likely to be sitting here looking around and wondering what happened to the university. Fortunately, as President Reed mentioned, we are exceptionally well positioned to address these challenges, not only because of the points I mentioned earlier, but because we are entering this period from a position of financial or of strength relative to many institutions of higher education. We are fortunate as we can prepare for this situation proactively, rather than having to react to an acute financial concern, as many universities find themselves having to do. We still have time to adjust and respond to the demographic shifts and the other headwinds higher education faces. Now, today I want to encourage us not to be depressed nor rest on our laurels, but to begin a conversation about issues that we need to consider and act on as we proceed into 2026 and subsequent years. I believe we can come out of the other side of this, of these headwinds, as an even stronger university by focusing on three broad areas. First, we must maintain our strong focus on mission. Our mission says, and the deans will maybe start laughing because I say this before every dean's meeting, we go over the mission. The mission of the university says, we are Chicago's Jesuit Catholic University, a diverse community seeking God in all things and working to expand knowledge in the service of humanity through learning, justice, and faith. Our focus on mission is an advantage for us, and we should lean into it. Our mission differentiates us from other universities. Students want an education that teaches them to have an impact on others and to create a just world. Parents want their students to be educated at a prestigious university that educates the whole person. We do that at Loyola. Our strong focus on mission also gives us an advantage in that it helps guide our decision-making through turbulent times as we are experiencing now in higher education. The second thing we can do is respond to the situation as it is and not as we want things to be. We must act where it is possible to have meaningful impact. Let me give you 5 examples. Bear with me. Example 1. The demographic shift will make recruitment of new students more challenging. Therefore, we must understand that recruitment involves all of us. This isn't Paul Roberts Shop's only job. It's not his alone. It's all of our jobs. Therefore, we must understand that recruitment does involve all of us. Every single person on this campus, with respect to our offerings, programmatically, we need to make sure our programs are rigorous yet desirable to students, that they are price competitive, that they are offered in the modalities, locations, and times the students want, not necessarily those that are convenient for us. Most students attend Loyola to help them take the next steps in their careers, and our program should be designed to help them take that step, while not forgetting that we are here to do more than simply fill them with facts and new skills, but we're here to educate them as whole people. So how we do this work at Loyola should be distinctly different from what we see at other programs. We also need to have the learning spaces, living spaces, and campus amenities our students expect. We need to grow in new markets, both geographic and demographic, beyond those we traditionally serve. Most importantly, we must understand that recruitment of new students at Loyola is not simply the job of the enrollment office. It's all of our jobs in the way we do them. Example 2 of actions we can take. We must focus on student retention. Our student retention rate's about 84% right now. We can do better. We need to make sure that we have a clear retention plan in place in which all of us understand our roles. Academically, some students may enter Loyola not as prepared as we thought they were. We need to prepare them. We know that some classes serve as gatekeeper courses to student success. We need to understand how to help students through those gates. We know that students who participate in high-impact learning experiences retain at a better rate. We need to make sure more experiences like this are available to our students and that they participate. We know that economic factors impact retention. We need to figure out how to keep the dream alive for those students who, after their first year, find affordability an even bigger issue than they had anticipated. We know that social factors impact retention. We need to make sure that our campus is inclusive so that all students who start here feel welcome, see students, faculty, and staff like themselves, and want to stay here. As an aside to this last point, we, all of us in this room, need to be present as a community. The pandemic has taken a lot away from us. It's still echoing. Many of us are concerned about the academic preparation, mental health challenges, and resilience of some students coming out of the pandemic. However, the pandemic took a toll on all of us in another way, our sense of community. The convenience of hybrid work arrangements, online instructions rise, not that they're bad things, but we have to recognize the impact that those had. That's come at a cost, and the cost is often community. As we proceed, we need to remember the healing effects of community. Our students want community, and it is our responsibility to provide that to them. Example 3. Both recruitment and retention will be helped when we're able to clearly demonstrate and articulate our results. We need to focus on improving graduation rates, making sure our students have the career paths they want after graduation, and that we have changed them as people in a way that impacts humanity. We do that by blending a strong, time-tested core curriculum with major specific courses that are centered in experiential learning. I'm confident that we do this well. You're confident we do this well. Still, we must prove we are doing this well. We must prove that we are excellent and not just say we are. When we can demonstrate excellence with data, it will help us with our recruitment and retention. Example 4. Related to the concept of return on investment is the concept of reputation. We all know Loyola University Chicago is a strong university. We also know that in the Midwest, I'm a Midwesterner, we tend not to brag or talk about ourselves very much. It's a fault we have. It's an endearing fault, but it's a fault. We must change that. We must share with the higher education community and the community at large how strong we are and the impact that we make on the lives of our students and on the community. We need to pay attention to reputation because the data suggests that demographic shifts will not impact universities with stronger reputations as much as those with weaker reputations. Example 5. We must understand and capitalize on our research and scholarship. Of course, research is central to the mission of the university. I've dedicated my career to research. However, we must also understand how research can help us manage the headwinds in higher education. Let's think about how that happens. Research that involves undergraduate research experiences can help with our students' success goals, as students who participate in high-impact practices like research tend to graduate sooner, have higher retention rates, and are often more successful at getting into graduate school and getting jobs. We also know that research is a reputational enhancer, research that has a meaningful impact on the community, and research that has a meaningful impact on the field enhances the reputation of the university and can help us overcome the notion that higher education has a diminished value to society. Finally, research is a differentiator for students deciding whether to go here or to a university where research isn't as prominent. I'm convinced students and parents of students would rather attend a place where knowledge is being born than where knowledge is simply taught. So I've given you a few examples of areas which we can take action in addressing the headwinds facing higher education. There are many more. However, regardless of which actions we take, we must also look at ourselves and ask whether our own way of doing business is conducive to getting the necessary work done. I've been here for about 2 months, and I've seen a number of things I'm exceptionally proud of. I've also seen some things that could impede our progress to deal with the changes in higher education and the demographic shifts that are coming. One of our strengths is that we're a large, diverse, multi-campus organization. We have many various contexts and cultures under this umbrella we call Loyola. However, if we're going to accomplish the work ahead of us effectively and efficiently, we must do this together. We must try to break down the silos between schools, colleges, departments, administrative units, the administration faculty, the faculty administration divide, the faculty staff divide. We need to break that down. We must realize that we're all in this together. Not only must we do the work together, but we must do it in a way that's informed by data and is financially responsible. We must also do something else that's important or difficult for higher education. We must be nimble. We tend to move slowly. Of course, we still need to be reflective on what we do, always, and how we do it, but we must be nimble. We must evaluate our processes, our own internal processes, to make sure that we can move as quickly, efficiently, and as effectively as possible. We must consider new programs that we can begin quickly, and we must take an honest look at existing programs, strengthening them where we can, changing them where we must, and sunsetting them when they are no longer doing what we had intended for them to do for our students. Overall, I believe if we can do these things, if we can take action where action is under our control, if we can do this work together in a nimble yet reflective way, and stay focused on our mission, we will not only survive the headwinds of higher education, but will come out as one of the premier institutions of higher education in the country. I look forward to working together with you on this task before us. Thank you very much. Okay, and now I will say, and I'm supposed to invite you all to Piper Plaza for lunch, and I'm still figuring out what that is. I'm just going to follow you. So thank you all, and have a good lunch.